Poem number 1, Salvage Song by Elsie Cawser. My saucepans have all been surrendered. The teapot is gone from the hob. The colander's leaving the cabbage for a very much different job. So now when I hear on the wireless of hurricanes showing their mettle, I see in a vision before me a Dornier chased by my kettle. Poem number 2, For Johnny by John Pudney. Do not despair for Johnny head in air. He sleeps as sound as Johnny underground. Fetch out no shroud for Johnny in the cloud, and keep your tears for him in after years. Better by far for Johnny the bright star, to keep your head and see his children fed. Poem number 3, Punishment Enough by Norman Cameron. They say that women in a bombing raid retire to sleep in brand new underwear, lest they be blasted out of doors, displayed in shabby garments to the public stare. You've often seen a house sliced like a cheese, displaying its poor secrets, peeling walls and warping cupboards. Of such tragedies, it is the petty scale that most appalls. Poem number 4, Morse Lesson by Joy Corfield. A cold, cold room with cold, cold girls in buttoned greatcoats, scarves and mitts, frozen fingers trying to write the letters for the da-da-dits. Faster, faster, says the sergeant. Slower, slower work our brains. Feet are numb, our blood is frozen, every movement causing pains. Yet, 4 of us swam in the sea just last week, on Christmas Day, through frosty foam and fringe of ice, warmer than we are today. Poem number 5, Song of the Dying Gunner by Causley. Oh mother, my mouth is full of stars as cartridges in the tray. My blood is a twin-branched scarlet tree, and it runs, all runs away. Oh, cooks to the gallery is sounded off, and the lads are down in the mess. But I lie done by the forward gun with a bullet in my breast. Don't send me a parcel at Christmas time of socks and nutty and wine, and don't depend on a long weekend by the Great Western Railway line. Farewell, Aggie Weston, the barracks at Guz, hang my tiddly suit on the door. I'm sewn up neat in a canvas sheet, and I shan't be home no more. Poem number 6, Lament of a Desert Rat by N.J. Trapnell. I've learnt to wash in petrol tins and shave myself in tea, whilst balancing the fragments of a mirror on my knee. I've learned to dodge the 88s and flying lumps of lead, and to keep a foot of sand between a stooker and my head. I've learnt to keep my ration bag crammed full of buckshy food, and to take my army ration and to pinch what else I could. I've learned to cook my bully beef with candle ends and string in an empty petrol can or any other thing. I've learned to use my jackknife for anything I please, a bread knife or a chopper or a prong for toasting cheese. I've learnt to gather souvenirs that home I long to send, and hunt them round for months and months and dump them in the end. But one day when this blooming war is just a memory, I'll laugh at all these troubles when I'm drifting o'er the sea. But until that longed-for day arrives, I'll have to be content with bully beef and rice and prunes and sleeping in a tent. Poem number 7, Dead German Youth by C.P.S. Denholm-Young. He lay there, mutilated and forlorn, save that his face was woundless and his hair drooped forward and caressed his boyish brow. He looked so tired, as if his life had been too full of pain and anguish to endure, and like a weary child who tires of play, he lay there, waiting for decay. I feel no anger towards you, German boy, whom war has driven down the path of pain. Would God we could have met in peace, and laughed and talked with tankards full of beer, for I would rather hear your youthful mirth at stories which I often loved to tell, than stand here looking down at you, so terrible, so quiet, and so still. Poem number 8. Who Won the War? By Anonymous. It wasn't the Wrens who won the war, whatever the Wrens may say. It was the Women's Land Army. They won it making hay. It wasn't the ATS who won the war. They never fired a gun. It was the Women's Land Army, spreading cowmuck by the ton. It wasn't the WAFs who won the war, though they say they did, and how. It was the Women's Land Army. They even went to plough. It really was the land girls who won the war, you see. They heeded all those posters and they dug for victory.